again, everybody. So, today we're going to be talking about why military members are tools, and we're going to be doing it inside in my room, unfortunately. Wanted to go outside, but like I could show you guys. Actually, I don't even know if you can see from here, but it is pretty foggy out, as you can see over there. But yeah, so like I said, they said that we had global warming, but we're getting that large excessive cooling front in the middle of the United States, the East Coast, and now out here we have excessive fog warning. So I guess global warming is not actually coming into fruition. We're getting a global excessive cooling, at least in certain parts of the world. So, anyways, today I want to talk about why military members are tools. And it's kind of funny because this is figuratively and kind of literally. A lot of people that I've met in the military have been pretty cool, but I've also met some people like in the recruiting office a long time ago when I was considering going to the Navy that were, tools, basically. So anyways, I want to talk about this subject because it's kind of hits on the point about the police. If you are part of the force, the public servant force and keeping the law and things like that. So the reason why I say that people of the military are members of the military are tools because they're basically tools of the government, right? So you as a military member enact the wants and desires of your military, which to be quite frank with you are not always the moral standard if you want to even argue that there are such things as morals. But yeah, like we've seen in the Middle East, basically just bombing people constantly, having reasons to go over there and get oil, which is what we're doing with Venezuela now as well too. So I guess yay, go America. We're gonna have cheaper oil now. I mean, that's good for me, so but unfortunately people are getting bombed and going to be suffering in these countries that we do these things too. So the United States and like other countries, so this is military service throughout the whole world, you are a tool for the government. The government rules over the people of a country, which also doesn't exist. So you are being a tool for your government and fighting for what they want, which isn't what's natural. You should be basically only fighting and putting your life on the line for your family and protecting the ones that you love that are closest to you, like for example in your tribe, right? You would do that naturally. That's kind of like a common sense thing that obviously you protect your family, and I think most people innately feel that deep down and have that passion. As a tool for the government though, you risk your life, which you should pretty much never do. Naturally speaking, a human being would basically try to avoid conflict, especially even conflict. So for example, if you are in your tribe and there's an issue with someone and you end up catching them alone, then your group would go and, do their thing with that one person, take out the threat, right? Basically. But you would almost never engage in a fight that was even or equal or anything in any way that has a high chance of you risking your life, basically. So they do that with the people in the military, and they're constantly on the front lines and in battle. We've seen this with like World War I was a really good example where people are going over the trenches and they're just getting machine gunned down, right? So yeah, doing that is very unnatural and you should never do that. But you're fighting for a cause that the government tells you is legit. So you're not even fighting for like your own family. You're fighting for some cause that you're told is something good or that you should be risking your life for, right? But not only that, you're fighting for your country. And I know that this is something that happens when you get drafted. Oh, you're fighting to protect your country. Well, countries, which this can be another topic that I can talk about, but countries also do not even exist. So what is a country? A country is a imaginary line that we all, I guess, collectively agree upon. Well, we're basically told and brainwashed constantly our whole life. That's why you have like history, geography, things like this. But I mean, it's also just in the news and whatever too, right? So we were constantly told that there are these imaginary lines that start out in the desert at this mountain line, between two countries, which are just man-made ideas. There are no such things as countries. If it's something that is only imagined, then it doesn't actually exist. This happens with a lot of other beliefs that people have, and I've talked about this in past videos with like the money and stuff like that. Those only exist, they don't exist, and they're just ideas in your head that are agreed upon by the brainwashed populace, right? So, you're putting your life on the line, which is the most important thing to any person or any living thing in general, right? Is their life, their existence. And that's why you try to preserve your existence as much as possible. Typically, unless you're very chemically imbalanced, super depressed people, they end up offing themselves and things like this, right? But you are an absolute tool for people who don't even care about you, which is the government, right? And they send you out to do what they want you to do, like an absolute slave, basically, right? And then you put your life on the line for a country that also doesn't exist. So basically, you're risking all of your existence, which is the most important thing to you, your life, for something that doesn't even exist. I kind of just wanted you guys to wrap your head around like how pathetic and pretty terrible this is, to be honest, that people actually get sucked into this. And the reason why, like, I understand people get sucked into this because of the system that we live in, and the reason why they need money, which doesn't exist, but in the system you do have to use money to pay for things. You got to buy groceries, you got to take care of your family, you got to have a future. They help you with like college, and you get like good education and help with housing or buying a house and stuff like that, which all of those things don't really matter at the end of the day. And a lot of times they don't actually help you because, like, I don't know if you guys have ever actually researched like what the word mortgage is, for example. Mortgage means, I think it's like mort and gauge come from, so mort is like death, right? And then gauge or whatever, like the ending part of the mortgage, the word actually means, it means quite literally death pledge. So you're basically, because back in the day, I think it was in medieval times or maybe a little bit before that, like the 700s or 800s, but basically the reason why they called a mortgage this is because you basically pledge your whole life to paying off this debt for a house or housing. And a lot of times I guess the people wouldn't even pay it off. So, and then it'd be passed down onto like generations or something like that is what it was saying when I looked up quickly. But yeah, I guess I can talk a little bit about since we're talking about the military and putting your life on the line for like the government and whatever, we can also talk about, like I was talking about earlier with the public servants for the police. So police also kind of do the same thing. They basically risk their life, which is like the most important thing to you and like your family and all these things, just to get money, basically. So you're going to go out into the world, govern or like control the populace, which, okay, like in a society, you probably need that to some extent, because if you don't, then everyone's going to be dying, right? But you're risking your life for that, which I think might actually be a good reason. I mean, I don't really know if robots are good in general, but it might actually be good for people in this argument for like risking your life, because then you won't have to if robots are doing all of that. So then no person will have to do that, but then robots are out there like dictating all the laws and stuff like that. So I don't really know if that's a good thing. I feel like I had one more thing, but yeah, it's kind of like the same thing with like working a job too, enslaving yourself to someone else's will, which, yes, I understand in the system you do have to make money, and you probably should just do it just to make money, because if you don't, then you're not gonna have food. But if you can get like food stamps, like I was working with a guy and he actually was getting food stamps while working as a server, and he made like decent money. So I was like, how's this guy even getting food stamps? Doesn't really make any sense. But I think it's because his girlfriend had 2 kids and they weren't married yet, so they could like apply separately and stuff like that. But anyways, that's like kind of like off topic. So and another thing I guess I want to mention about the military service is really interesting, because talking about the robots, they do basically make you like a robot, and they make you all the same, right? You all shave your head, all clean cut, shave head, right? and you guys all are supposed to, sir, yes, sir. And then you go through boot camp, you get all these traumatic experiences basically to break you down and pretty much make you not want to disobey, basically, is the reason why they do that. It's a lot of like mental warfare and kind of breaking down that like ego or whatever I guess you want to call it. So yeah, it's basically slavery also, but kind of the system that we live in is relatively slavery. So I think I've kind of talked about that, like you don't actually have freedoms, right? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk, and hopefully next time I'll be outside. I probably doubt it because it's been really foggy out here for some reason, and excessive fog. Watch out, guys. You might be getting the flu from excessive fog now. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.